didn't need a car to get here. He just dusted down the old TARDIS and jumped in. For many devoted fans of the cult TV series, he was the definitive Doctor Who. Since then, he's also played the lovable Wurzel Gummidge. But now he's back in a spectacular new stage version of the Doctor's adventures, Doctor Who, The Ultimate Adventure, which starts a national tour next week. Well, welcome to the man of 1,000 voices, Jon Pertwee.
Thank you very much, my dear.
Thanks for coming in, Jon.
Nice to meet you. We haven't met before.
No.
You're a new girl, aren't
That's
you?
right, yes. This is about week 4, I think, for me.
Well
so
done.
Just settling in. Now, I was just talking during the break. To me, you are the Doctor Who, because you were my sort of formative years.
Yes.
We're watching you.
I was your
in
era.
That role, that's right.
Yeah.
But how does it feel to be going back to Doctor Who now?
Oh, it's great. I love it. Money's good. And I enjoy the programme, and we got a nice adventure story. Terry Dix, who wrote the original, was the script editor of the original Doctor Who that I was in, has written this play. He had written one once before. It's not the first time it's been on the stage. It was written once before in the 70s, and I was supposed to be doing it. But unfortunately, I couldn't due to Doctor Who's commitments, and so somebody else did it. It was very successful. And so he's written this one, and it's like a boy's own paper adventure story.
Now, how does it compare storyline with perhaps your have you got a favourite storyline from the television series?
Yeah, well, in television, of course, we're much more sort of sci-fi orientated, which you can't do so much on the stage because it's rather sort of minuscule in its approach. But we have Daleks and Cybermen, and
they do.
We have flying birds that come down and squawk and screech, and we have...
It's like the M25.
So there are lots of special
and
effects.
We're using a lot of Houdini. We've got a lot of Houdini tricks, people disappearing, and guillotines to cut people's heads off. Oh, it's all good stuff for the kiddies. Yes.
Sounds fantastic. Is there a lot that can go wrong if you're doing that sort of special
I should
effect?
think an enormous amount. Very little will go right, actually, in the first 3 days.
And when does the tour actually start?
We open in 10 days' time, all things being well, in Wimbledon.
Right.
Theatre, and then we go to Aberdeen and Liverpool and all the big cities.
Now, one thing that Doctor Who has come in for criticism with, I mean, generally it's a very popular programme, isn't it? But people like Mary Whitehouse have actually said, well, it's bad because it scares the children. Now, I must admit, I used to watch it. I did seriously watch it from behind the sofa. I couldn't bear to miss it, but I couldn't watch it either. But I loved it.
Yeah, well, that's the natural place to watch it. I mean, under tables is where you watch Doctor Who. my own son, Sean, he used to go under the table and grab hold of my ankle, and as long as he had hold of my ankle and he was seeing me on the screen, he wasn't concerned. I mean, kids like being frightened, let's face it. They enjoy it.
I suppose they always know that eventually you're going to be safe as well, or they have faith in that.
Yeah, well, I think as long as they're behind the sofa, they know that's their sofa, the monsters can't get at them.
Now, a couple of big names that you've been throwing around as far as the stage show of Doctor Who is concerned are Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan.
Yes, there was some talk. When it was originally mooted, the impresario who was presenting it, Mark Furness, he was negotiating with Australia for the show to open there. But things blew hot and cold due, I think, probably to their enormous success in the pop field. And so he couldn't tie that up, and so he decided to do an English tour first. Now I'm doing 3 months of it, and then taking a rest. And then if it goes to Australia, then I'd love to go with it to Australia, or Canada, or America, where there are little feelers out already.
Of course, the television show is incredibly popular all around the world, isn't it?
Indeed it is, yes. All the English-speaking countries in the world, I think, have it.
Now, you're not only Doctor Who, are you? I mean, you've done all sorts of, played all sorts of other characters,
sure,
including, of course, the other sort of big one that everybody knows is Wurzel Gummidge. Which is your most favourite?
Oh, without doubt, Wurzel.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, Wurzel's the one for me yet. Yeah, I like Wurzel because he changes his character about every 30 seconds.
Doesn't change his clothes very much, John, does he?
Not a lot, no, thank heavens for that, yes. It's a great relief to be able to at least run through a show and wear... was when we did it on the stage. I was hardly off the stage, but one could wear the same clothes all the way through.
John, it's time for Sweet Music. We'll chat a lot more later, but as the owner of a Spanish holiday home, we've just heard news that your name's still on the lease, by the way.
Yes, I know. I want to talk a bit to people about that.
These are worrying times.
Very worrying.
We'll chat to you a lot more later.
Right.
Of course, he'll be back again tomorrow. Now, we have our 2 guests in the studio again. We've got Jon Pertwee, commonly known as Doctor Who, and Cathy Staff, commonly known as Nora Batty. But, of course, more than Nora Batty, Cathy. I mean, you've appeared in I think, virtually almost all of the soaps that we've had on television. Crossroads quite a lot, but particularly as Doris Luke in Crossroads. Was
Yes.
she a favourite of yours?
Yes, she was. I thought she was a lovely character. She sort of was rather hard, but she had a heart of gold. And, of course, it was lovely to work with Paul Henry, who played Benny, because he's such a lovely actor. And it really was a joy to work there.
And how did you feel when Crossroads sort of saw its last programme?
I was very sorry. I think it was dreadful the way they... I think they must have deliberately sort of killed it, because the scripts went worse, and they seemed to get rid of so many popular characters all at once. If you're going to bring new characters in, you've got to bring them in slowly and get people used to, say, 2 or 3 new characters, and leave them quite a time and then bring more in. But they seemed to do it, you know, it was just slaughter. They got rid of so many of the really popular characters. And it was such a shame, because people that are housebound and invalids and old people, they used to love it. I mean, we went in their homes 3 or 4 times a week, so you were like a member of the family.
Yes.
And the letters we used to get were wonderful.
It's the big debate now, isn't it? A lot of people saying, well, it's all very well axing some of the new things or some of the old favourite series,
No, that's right.
but if you don't replace it with anything better, why do you do it? What do you feel about that, John?
I don't like runs to go on forever. I like to get in, put a new hat on.
But you can understand, can't you, those actors and actresses, and we'll chat later with Jimmy Greaves about this as well, those actors and actresses who feel bedded into a part, and it becomes almost part of the national life, doesn't it?
Well, that's quite true, but on the other hand, things, and Peter Saunders once said that there is absolutely no reason why the mousetrap should ever come off.
Yes.
I mean, it's with us for not only your life, but the lives of our sons and sons and sons. I mean, America have proved that with the fantastic things can go on and on and on forever. There's no reason why they should come off, because you're getting a new public all the time.
How about in the example of Doctor Who, which has gone on and on and on for 26 years now, but with an ever-changing cast? Do you think...
Well, I think as long as the standard stays up with anything, it'll run.
Yeah.
If the standard drops, then off it comes.
That's right.
Yes,
And I think if you shift times, too, I mean, Wurzel Gummidge, which is showing now, was shifted by Michael Gray to 11 o'clock or 11:30 on a Sunday morning in order to get the children on a Sunday morning, to get them viewing. And the result is, of course, we lost all our vast adult viewing public, because we used to have 65–70% adult viewing.
There's sort of another level of the programme, isn't there, that I think adults can appreciate, a bit like sort of Magic Roundabout was another one that
Well, yes,
adults liked.
I mean, Wurzel was never, like Doctor Who, is never a children's programme, it's a family programme, and
Yes.
you need the adults as well.
Yes.
Same, I mean, to a certain extent, the same happened with Doctor Who, didn't it? The time was switched quite regularly at one point.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, Margaret came up against a lot of competition, Wurzel Gummidge.
That was a different hat.
Do you always think, I mean, it's a dangerous area in a sense, but do you feel actors and actresses, because they're so closely involved, do they know best? I mean, let's be honest, at one point, Crossroads was getting almighty flack, wasn't it? from people?
Yes, but I think the critics always like somebody to sort of knock down. And when you think that we used to do 4 episodes in 1 week.
Yes.
Now then, Summer Wine, we have 2 weeks for 1 episode, so you can see the difference.
Yes.
But, I mean, there again, that was timing, because in some areas it used to go out at 4:15, and other areas it would be 5 o'clock, and, you know, it was all different time, and it was wonderful, and even with the split timing and that, we still got about 14 million viewers. So a programme that can drag viewers in at any time during the day, I think was worth keeping on.
Well, we've got to take a break. Jimmy Greaves is on after the break, and maybe we'll carry on this chat about, you know,
Yes.
when actors and actresses should leave as well, a long-running series. But just wondering, how would Nora Batty take us to a break? If the phrase is, "we'll take a break," how would she do it, do you think?
Come on, it's time to finish.
All right. We'll obey you.
Dead skin cells can dull any complexion. With a pre-scrub, you can simply smooth them away. A pre-apricot facial scrub.
Once, if you put pastry in a microwave, you had to wrap it up after it was cooked. Now, just wrap it up before you cook it. With new micro-crisp pastry wrap. And get crisp golden brown pastry from a microwave. New micro-crisp pastry wrap. because there's enough rubbish in newspapers already.
Wallace seeks the nuttiest butty.
One slice of bread, one garden shed, one spud called bread, jellies, wellies and soup.
All nutty, no tasty, Wallace. Try new peanut butter from KP. The #1 in nuts.
One slice of bread with KP. This is very satisfactory.
New KP peanut butter for the utterly nutty butty.
But it still can't play the bagpipes.
Wall's Viennetta could leave you with one small problem. One slice is never enough.
This week on TVAM, The Budget. There will be expert opinions from the city, money markets, trade and industry. But how will it affect you? How you live, where your home is, what you can afford? To find out, we've invited 3 families from low, middle and high income groups to join us in the studio on Budget Morning to give their views. They'll return the morning after the budget and tell us what it means to them. Will they be better off? How will they cope? Before and after the budget, this week on TVAM.
Jon Pertwee's here. Kathy Stafford's here. Jimmy Greaves is here. Good morning to you, Jimmy.
Good morning, Michael.
You
How are
listening
you?
to that chat? Oh, you've
I was
hold on.
indeed.
What's happening now?
It's
Go on.
7:29. A little comment on Morris. Can you get rid of that gorilla? I think that's a bit unkind, Mike.
Well, I saw a gorilla sitting next to me, you know, but I mean, not you.
No. I mean, that is unkind. I mean, someone obviously woke up with a hangover on a Monday morning
Yes,
there.
I think we should actually get the Be Kind to Gorillas Association on the programme.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it was very unkind, guy.
As I said last week, I just sit here
Mike.
watching Richard Keys' hair grow. You know? Anyway, James.
Yes.
We were talking, and Jon Pertwee made a very good point about some very eccentric scheduling on occasions in which it's forgotten that there are programmes watched by both adults and children.
Absolutely. In fact, personally, I think a lot of the children's television is far superior and intelligent to some of the stuff that that's put on later in the evening when adults are supposed to be watching it for adult viewing. You actually do get some really good kids stuff.
Yeah, you made
And
a point. You made a point about films. I mean, you get in the afternoon some absolutely superb films, old but wonderful films in black and white, and then in the evening you get some ghastly repeat.
Yes.
Which I don't follow at all.
Well, you know, repeats have always been a contention of mine on this programme, but it's absolutely true. But also, John, you get, say, the news at 5:45, which is, you're not supposed to show anything bloodthirsty, etc., before 9, shows half the world killing itself, you know, and then after 9, you can see something a little bit better. And 10:30 at night, they come up with a very good film until midnight or something like that. Well, people have got to get up and go to work. They could easily show that film at 8 o'clock. There's no problem. The scheduling is up the Swanee. There's no question about it. But you know my feelings about people in television. The management and the people at the top do not watch television. They do not watch their own product. They don't study their own product enough. I don't think they genuinely know, nor do, and I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me, but nor do I think they care what the average punter is looking at.
Jim, let's just
particularly at weekends.
Yeah.
If you look at the Saturday schedules, Mike, it's repeat after repeat after repeat, and this is on a Saturday. You know, when television should be at its best.
Well, Jim, let's just remind ourselves of something that Kathy was saying. Crossroads, when it died, was watched by how many?
About 14 million.
Well, Crossroads,
used to
now,
when I was in
you
it.
might argue that the series had gone on for a long time. Some might even say it was tired. Others might say it was badly written. But what you're doing, aren't you, Jim, when you shut that show, is saying 14 million viewers, you're wrong.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the whole point. Well, Kath would know that better than me. I mean, she would have had the following.
Oh,
with
I mean, the
Crossroads.
letters we used to get from people, they really considered you were part of their family. And I felt very, very sorry when they deliberately, I think, killed it off.
It's very interesting. I mean, we talk about Nora Batty, but you feel, don't you, as you walk around Britain, you're far better known as Doris, don't you?
Well, certainly when I was in Crossroads, I left about 3 years ago, everybody, especially the ladies, all knew me as Doris. The men knew me as Nora. You know, she's always had that sex appeal.
There's something about
But
Nora,
yes, the ladies always knew me as Doris.
Yeah.
I don't think that nostalgia, though, should sway us. I think that it would be a mistake just to keep a program on because of people say, oh, well, I've always watched it, so I'll go on watching it. If its standard goes down, then I think it should come on.
I think that's a good point, John, but what you've just said is very interesting about the standard. They replace it with something that's usually inferior.
Like Neighbours, you see, it bought all that Australian
and it's incredibly popular.
I was going to say, Neighbours Rex, the point I was going to make was, it's right that if the standard goes down, but surely the indication, if the ratings start to go down and people lose interest in the things jaded, then you would concede, wouldn't you? If that had happened to Crossroads, it should go.
Yes, yes, I quite agree.
The thing I've never ever been able to work out is, and I still haven't to this day, is how people work out the ratings anyway.
No, I don't know.
I mean,
have you ever been asked if you watched a certain programme?
Never.
No.
And, I mean, even Bruce Gingell, the managing director here, has never asked me whether I watch TVAM. Good old Bruce.
But I mean, how can they tell now people are videoing programmes?
Well, that's right, yes.
I don't know how they can say.
I mean, what do? They take
them and watch them different times.
They take a selection of across the country, don't they, of people. I mean, and it's
there are certain people that have a form, don't they?
I think people actually are surviving wired up.
Forms, yes.
They have a form, or their televisions are wired up. I mean, it is a specific group of people.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
trying
it's not
to stretch
that
across
many,
everybody.
Kath. That's the argument.
No, we're taking a cross-section.
Yeah. But I still don't know.
One other talking point,
and
Jim.
the other interesting point, may I just butt in, is, and I think that this has become a habit now, where we used to switch the radio on and leave it on all day, people tend to do this with the television, and it gives a false indication into viewing figures, because people come home at night, turn the television on, and are not necessarily watching a particular programme, but because that programme is, i.e. registering on the ratings in some way, shape or form, you're getting this false impression that people are actually watching programmes, and they're not. It's just the television is background music, if you like.
One other talking point, Jim, that we're talking about, it must be a difficult decision when an actor or actress, like, say, Leslie Granson, decides when they decide to leave a series. Have you got any theories about this? Is it, can you ever do a good thing?
Yes, I would think so. I would think if you're an actor or an actress, you do want to go on to other things. I was very, very lucky in that I was in Crossroads, and then they used to release me for 3 months of the year, and I used to become Nora Batty. Yeah. So I was in a fortunate position that I never just had the one show going.
Same applies to you.
You could be terribly easily typecast. I mean, there are many classic examples of young actors who became very big names in things like Z-Cars. And they were in them for years, and then they thought now is the time to break out and to really go places, and they broke out and they went nowhere.
That's right.
And they found it very, very difficult. I mean, the Maigret was a classic example, you remember, with Rupert Davis. I mean, Rupert Davis, who was a highly established stage actor before he went into Maigret, and yet when he came out of Maigret, he could hardly get any work because everybody said it's Maigret.
It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, isn't it? I mean, dear old Ken Roach, who's Bill Roach, who's been Ken Barlow for, what, 30 years now. He's never been out of work, has he?
Yeah, but he doesn't care.
That's right.
No, he's obviously just happy to go along and take the money.
Yeah, there's arguments
they do
for and
get used to the
against.
regular money. As we all know, it is only when you're working regularly that you make any money.
Dare we ask you, how good's the money? I mean, what would be a typical, let's not ask about your money, that would be rude. But I mean, a typical middle-of-the-road actor in a long-running series, how much do they earn roughly? Do you know?
Really, I have no idea.
Your husband's a tax collector.
I can tell you that when I was Doctor Who, the salary was pitiful.
Yes, it will be.
When I was Doctor Who, I think I was earning about £300 a week.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah. Well,
and then when I asked for more, they said, "We're sorry to see you go."
Good luck in your next job.
Yes, I mean, it went up a little, I think.
If I remember, it was about 250 an episode. But of course, if you did 4 episodes, you were well in.
Oh, that's all right. You did 4 a week. Yeah,
but if you only did 1, so I mean, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. But I mean, what Coronation Street fees are, I've no idea, because it's about 10 years since I was in that. So I mean, the fee I got in that was very low.
As part of Jimmy's inspection of the telly, I think we were talking, weren't we, about Leslie Grantham, mentioned Leslie Grantham.
Yes.
Well, he's moved on to other things, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, at the moment, he's in Winners and Losers. He plays a boxing promoter, Eddie Burt, who's having a romance with his personal advisor, whilst managing a fighter. And actually, we've got a little clip.
Oh, we've got a little
We've got a clip coming up of Alec, who's won his last fight, visiting his father in Clink.
Boyle, Chew, Johnson, 4, Kerr, 3, Collins, 5, McGill, 7, Mulligan, 1, MacDonald, 6.
Oh, you've been busy.
Wilson, 8.
So what's the big occasion? Okay, on the 3rd. Okay, you know I dropped him a bit quicker than that. So, you think you're a hard man now, eh? You think you're a man?
Not to encourage too much encouragement from father there, was there? He dropped him in the 3rd and he's criticising him. Got to be bad, hasn't
Did
it?
Dirty Den leave at the right time?
Dirty Den is about, so that's tonight at 9 o'clock. Also, earlier on tonight at 8 o'clock, The Labours of Erica stars Brenda Blethyn. And I think this is a very good idea, this. This is a woman who's reaching 40, who finds a diary that she wrote when she was 14, saying the 12 things she's going to do before she's 40, and then suddenly realises that she's done none of them. And then decides to freak out.
You've got a week to do it in.
She decides to freak out.
This goes on after 9, does it, Jim?
No, this is a very good comedy. It's on at 8 o'clock tonight, and I think that's well worth watching. I think that's a super idea.
It's a good idea.
Because most of us have done that, haven't we? We've all written down things to... I can't think of the names of the people who wrote it. It was the same team that wrote Chance in a Million, which she played with Simon Callow in, and that was an excellent comedy.
It's a good topic.
It is a good topic.
I mean, the funny thing is, Jim, you did one of the things that I wanted to do before 40 and never got near. Score for England. I mean, what do you have any unresolved ambitions?
No,
Make Nora, get some proper stockings for Nora.
that's right. Strongly elastic.
What about you, John?
Oh, yes, I have.
What's that?
Oh, I'd like to do much more work in the movie industry and films, because it's very... There isn't much of it about. But that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to, now I'm getting on in years now, I'd like to play the character cameo roles in movies.
You should be able to, yes.
I should be able to. I'm the right age.
Absolutely.
John, what do you do when you're not actually working? I've heard that you're a bit of a motorbike fanatic. Is that
Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes, I rush around a town on my scooter bike, my scooter bike. I've always been a motorcyclist. I find it's the only way to do it, really. Especially when going to rehearsals, I am at the minute. You know, you can't take a car. If you do, you never find anywhere to park. I can get from Putney Heath to the West End in under half an hour. And
You're the one that does that, are you?
Taking your life in your hands every time you do it, actually.
Well, no, it's not at all. I think if you're sensible and you know what you're doing, you're all right.
You've never done any sort of motor racing competitively? Or
Yes, I did. I used to have a go at racing motorbikes on grass tracks, and I raced hydroplanes.
Hydroplanes?
Yes, which are the little tiny speedboats with outboard motorboat racing. I used to do, and dabbled in car racing in the 50s.
There's no time now. You're too busy attending all these Doctor Who conventions, aren't you? That's a full-time business.
They've gone down a little bit. Yes, we did at one time spend an enormous amount of time in America attending these Doctor Who conventions, and great fun they are too.
What part of the population actually has the sort of the most avid following for Doctor Who? Is it adults or children or boys, girls?
It varies. The average age in America is from about 18 to 35. And in England, in the UK, it's younger. But the fans in America are fans. They are fanatics. And
you get guys with science degrees and professors and
they,
so on
indeed,
working it out mathematically.
Absolutely, they are. If you speak to them, the majority of them are very, very well-educated people, and they are usually computer operators or professors or scientists.
You've got to be a fan of Doctor Who, haven't you?
Of course.
Yeah, but I mean, that is a particular programme that we're talking about. It's cross-the-board viewing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
It is.
Yes.
I mean, I think one of the secrets is, it's rather like, and no insult to you, it's a bit like Star Trek in the way that became a cult. It was the combination of fantasy and humour. Humour is the key thing in both. Did you feel that about Who?
Yes, I think that we had more reality, even though it had a slightly amateurish quality, which is what I think people love about it. I think that it's the people look upon it with great affection because it's a little tatty, and maybe you can see the zip fastener on the back of a monster. Whereas in America, they tried to play it straight, and when they went when they landed, always in Star Trek, they always went through that terrible rubber tree plantation. That's right. Always rubber trees, and the ladies always wore Lurex stockings and high-heeled shoes. And this irritated
And the men ended up looking as if they should wear bras, didn't they?
That's right.
I did pantomime with George Takei last year.
Did you?
Yes.
Mr. Sulu.
Mr. Sulu.
He's a good man, isn't he?
He
was a
was
guest
wonderful.
Sitting where you are about 2 weeks ago, actually.
Really?
We've got to say goodbye, sadly, but we want to see Lady Bracknell. Where can we see that?
Birmingham Repertory Theatre.
Handbag?
Handbag? Yes.
Is it going to move from Birmingham?
I don't think so, no. We're there until the 15th of April, unless somebody would like us to move. Any offers?
And the Doctor Who, The Ultimate Adventure, opens at the Wimbledon Theatre for 10 days in 10 days' time.
And then it moves, does it?
And then it moves to Liverpool and Aberdeen and all the big cities.
Well, don't disappear. Get it? Yeah. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And James, as ever.
Yes, I shall be currently appearing through a hole in my trousers in the normal way.
Thank you, James.
See you next week.
By the way, joining us on more things to happen ahead in the years, months, weeks, days ahead. Joining us on TVM tomorrow, indeed, will be actress Denise Stevenson, who co-stars with former EastEnders Dirty Den, Leslie Grantham. Wasn't that appetite? In the news television series Winners and Losers. And in a moment, I think it's Jane Irving, isn't it?
That's right.
With
yes,
After 9.
But first, we'll take a break.